Most of us ain't getting enough fibre. The average intake in the UK and the US is about 16 grams a day, which is around half of what it should be. And I didn't used to eat enough either. Now, a few years ago, when my health fell in a bit of a heap and I ended up having to take ill health retirement, I took a pretty long, hard look at my lifestyle and I made some significant changes, and that included to my diet. Hello, Jerry. Now, a few months ago, I shared an example of how I get to the recommended 30 grams a day with my newsletter subscribers, and it went down pretty well, so I'm making a video about it. By the way, if you do want to sign up to my newsletter, I'll put the link in the description below. In it, I share all sorts of helpful tips about aging well for women over 50. So in this video, I'm going to track how much fibre I eat in real time, and then at the end, I'll add it all up. Now, today is, goodbye Jerry, a university day, so I'm doing a master's in clinical nutrition. I'm a really mature student. And I promise this isn't going to be one of those what I eat in a day things where I prance around in a sports bra, because frankly no one needs to see that. So let's get going. So first, breakfast. Now, it's got really cold here over the last few days in the UK, so I want something really warming. That is Jerry whining because he wants to share my breakfast. He's not discovered that dogs don't eat dates, because there's some chopped dates here. Right, so porridge. You can use regular oats, so that's like the main bit of the oat groat, as it's called, which is steamed and flattened, or you can use something called oat bran, which I prefer. So this is some oat bran, and that's the outer surface of the oats, that's the whole grain. And the advantage is it's higher in fibre, it's higher in protein, and it cooks really quickly. Are you a greedy little dog? You are a greedy little dog. I thought so. So here I've got the dates. I like a bit of sweetness in my porridge. Yes, I could add some maple syrup, but you know, maple syrup is essentially exactly the same as table sugar, although I prefer the taste. But I really like dates. They give it some sweetness, and as an addition, they've got quite a good amount of fibre in them as well. So here I've got 3 tablespoons of my oat bran in a pan, and to that I'm going to add a tablespoon of chia seeds and a tablespoon of ground flaxseed. Then a pinch of cinnamon, and literally a pinch because I'm out of cinnamon. Now I'm going to cook it in a little almond milk. I prefer in my porridge or oatmeal the taste of almond milk to dairy milk, and I'm using this one, which is fortified with calcium and iodine, because dairy milk is a great source of both of those minerals. So I like to have the fortified plant version as well, because being a woman over 50, I want to make sure I'm getting my calcium in. So you could cook this in the microwave, but because it cooks pretty quickly, I'm just using the stove. And now it's thickening. I'm just going to add, oh, there goes a date, add my dates. Didn't break the 3-second rule. So I've got my warm bowl of porridge. The chia seeds makes it look a little bit like frog spawn, but you know what, we're going with it. So I'm going to add a fairly generous dollop of Greek yogurt. Use whatever kind you like. I prefer eating the 0%, but you know, you go with what you like. And then I'm going to put some berries on top. That's a lot of berries. Oh well, we're going for it. And then I would normally put a sprinkling of nuts on the top, but I've got a bit of leftover homemade granola with some nuts and seeds in, so I'm just going to use that up to give a little bit of crunch and texture. So I've got my nice warming brekkie, and I've got my morning cuppa. So I've eaten my breakfast and I've caught up on the news headlines. So I just wanted to show you the snack bars I made yesterday, because seriously, they're super quick and easy. So these have got to be one of the easiest snack bars you're ever going to make. So this is 3 small bananas, kind of medium ripe to getting a bit ripe. And I've just mashed those up really well until they're super squishy. Then I'm going to add some peanut butter. I absolutely love peanut butter. So this is 125 grams, which for my North American friends is about half a cup. And it's the bottom of the peanut butter tub, so it's gone a little bit dry. So I'm just going to kind of give it a good mix in with the banana. And to that I'm adding 50 grams of a chocolate protein powder. Again, that's about half a cup. Now, I've absolutely no issues cooking with protein powder. Yes, some of them contain fillers, emulsifiers, artificial sweeteners, etc., but not all. So this one is from a company here in the UK called the Organic Protein Company. I'm not sponsored, they don't know I exist. It does have a little bit of sugar in it. They put coconut sugar in. Is that any better than any other form of sugar? In my opinion, no, not really. You'd have to eat an awful lot of the stuff to get any nutrient benefits from it. Sugar is sugar, but it's only a small amount. And then they've put some cacao in there as well to give it that good chocolatey taste. And then I'm adding 125 grams of oats, so they're jumbo porridge oats, and that was 1 1/3 cups. So now I've mixed all of those things together to make a delightfully squishy mess. And lastly, because I'm an absolute chocoholic, I'm adding some chopped up 85% chocolate. You could use chocolate chips, but I'm not that fancy. And I forgot to say that was 40 grams of chocolate. And then I've just popped this in a square tin with a little bit of baking parchment. And that is going to go into the oven, which is set at 180 degrees. I'll put the temperature in Fahrenheit on the screen for about 15 minutes. And there we go. So they're out of the oven and just cooling down, and I've sliced them, and one of those tomorrow will make a really decent snack if I get a little bit peckish mid-afternoon. Okay, so I'm here in my car and I'm just heading off to university. It is flipping freezing here today, which is why I have my hat on and my alpaca coat. So my vibe is very much gothic yeti today. So I just thought I'd run through what I've taken to university to eat. So first off, I have my salad, and in a sec I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you what's in that. I've got a couple of the snack bars I made yesterday wrapped up in foil, and a few dried apricots in a pot, so they're a good source of fibre as well. So on the salad cam, I have the salad I made last night. I've just noticed the avocado is starting to go a little brown. I'll eat it anyway, and some cherry tomatoes. Then on this side, I've got some lettuce, and lurking under there a little bit of beetroot. There's some carrot, some yellow pepper, and some falafel. I would love to say I made the falafel myself, but I didn't because, you know, life and all that. And then in that pot, I've got some dressing made of a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil and half a teaspoon of balsamic vinegar. So I finished uni an hour and a half ago, and I just had time to pop to the gym. So I've come home. It's dark, it's late, I'm absolutely starving. But luckily I cooked my dinner yesterday, so I'll show you what I made. Now for dinner for the next couple of nights, I'm going to make that family favourite, a lasagna, but I'm going to try and up the fibre content a little bit. So my husband and I have a low-level disagreement about the amount of meat we eat as a household. I'm trying to introduce more plant protein. He's a die-hard omnivore, so we've got some reduced fat beef mince, or ground beef, I think you call it in the States here, but I want to get a little bit of extra fibre in, so I'm going to sneak in a can of green lentils. We've got some passata, we've got some herbs, and I'm going to be using a whole wheat lasagna. Apologies to any Italians, don't weep in horror. And I'm going to put a load of veg in it. So we've got some diced red onion, and then underneath we've got a mixture of carrot and celery. So I've got a good glug of olive oil there, and I'm just going to add in my veg. And I've just looked at my pan and gone, that ain't going to fit, so I've moved into a bigger one. So I've browned the meat and part cooked my veggies. I'm now going to add my lentils, some tomato puree, my passata, a little water that I've used to rinse out the jar, some herbs that I've just spilt on the cooker, tiny bit of salt. My husband has high blood pressure and is on antihypertensives despite a good diet, so I don't tend to cook with a lot of salt, and some pepper. Now I'm going to make my bechamel sauce. I've got some butter and some flour. The flour's wholemeal because that's all I've got, which is why it's brown. Don't ask me quantities, I just made it up. So obviously I tried to up the fibre content of my lasagna, and just to give it an extra boost and give me some veg, I'm going to have it with some salad and some green beans. So there we go, I've got my green beans, I've got my salad, so I've filled up half of my plate with vegetables, which is a really quick and easy way to get extra fibre in your diet as well as some vitamins. New day, new woolly jumper. So I put everything I ate yesterday into the app Chronometer. So I'm going to run through it, and I am just going to be looking down at my laptop because I can't remember all the numbers off the top of my head. The menopause brain fog is real. Now that high fibre breakfast, that contained a whopping 20.7 grams of the stuff. Those 3 tablespoons of oat bran, they contained 8.7 grams, and the tablespoon of chia seeds, that was 3.4 grams. Now my lunch in total was 11.4 grams, and of the vegetables, the one highest in fibre, that was the avocado. I ate about a third of a medium avocado, and that was 5.1 grams. My dinner, that was 10.5 grams, and my daily snacks included 3 dried apricots, 2 of those homemade snack bars, and a cafe latte. And that all added up to 6.5 grams, and those snack bars, they were 2.1 each. So adding it all up, my daily fibre intake was 49.1 grams, and at no point did I feel deprived or if I was eating anything other than really tasty food. However, I do just need to say that I'm used to eating a high fibre diet. I've been doing it for a while and my system is used to it. If you decide you want to increase the amount of fibre in your diet, do it really slowly and make sure you stay well hydrated. And if you have any known bowel conditions or any bowel symptoms, it's really important to see your doctor before making a significant change to your diet. What are your favourite high fibre foods or any recipes? Let me know in the comments. I'll put a video here on building satisfying and filling meals, and I'll see you there.